Hello, winners. Well, talk about an important topic, naming your practice. Wow. Creating a brand, the name, colors, possibly any logos. And we want to have something that will stand the test of time, that'll be simple, that'll be good, that'll be workable, and that'll be effective and easy to remember. There's a lot that goes into this. And it's going to be different for everybody because everybody's scenario is different, the geography is different, their personality is different. But let me go over some main points here. Obviously, I've got quite a checklist here. The first thing is this. What you are after is a really, really good URL. People think they're out trying to figure out a name, and they don't even have that on the radar. I'm out for the URL. I can play with the name quite a bit with what I stick on a sign or what I say on a business card. It's the URL I've got to have that's good. It has to be easy to say. It has to look good. Many times people think, I got this great name, but when you spell it out, the way the words fit together doesn't look good, or it gets pronounced wrong. Okay? All right? It's kind of like some words, when they butt up against each other, it's like you've got too many T's or something. It changes the way it could possibly be read. And of course, we want maximum clarity, all right? So you're after the URL, okay? Next point I want to make is this. You want to avoid the goofy, meaningless names that chiropractors are notorious for. These one name, blank chiropractic. And it's like, that word doesn't even make sense with chiropractic. It doesn't make any sense. I could just start rattling them off, but people would feel bad that I mentioned their name, so I won't say any, but they're out there all over the place. The word doesn't make any sense with chiropractic, or what the word means isn't even a positive thing for chiropractic. Okay? All right? So you have to be very careful with any goofy names or names that don't make sense. They might be a neat word, but that doesn't mean it has anything to do or what should be called a chiropractic office. Okay? All right. Next, no common names. Pinnacle Chiropractic, Absolute Chiropractic, Discover Chiropractic. Okay? All right? And normally the name of chiropractic in your town, Chanhassen Chiropractic, that was taken probably 50 years ago, okay? So we can't have any common names that if someone were to try to find you, they see 17 more of the same name around the country, okay? So we can't have any of that, okay? I also want you to be aware of this one in the process here, is there's blank chiropractic, okay? There's blank health and injury. There's blank wellness, like center, blank chiro and wellness, blank health and wellness, blank health and chiropractic, blank chiropractic and injury. See, there's choices here. All right? Like say you called yourself, let's say here, New Era Chiropractic and Wellness. New Era Chiropractic and Wellness. See, that doesn't work very good, does it? Just doesn't work very good. But if you have like Rockford Health and Wellness, RHW, okay? That might actually work inside a logo of some kind. It's possible. You get the idea. In other words, many times the name and the initials of the name can come into play, okay? All right. Another possibility here as well, we'll get to that in just a second. We'll get to that in just a second. Okay. Next thing you have to do is with any name or URL you're considering. Of course, you're going to Google it to see if the name is available, if it's common, and otherwise, okay? So you, of course, will Google any name you're thinking of. And if you really think you have good, you will go to the Secretary of State website in your state to see if that name is registered already, okay? All right, next is this. We'll have, this is our teaching, the legal name, okay? Blank, blank, LLC, blank, 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 S Corp, okay? The legal name. Normally, we want this to be somehow connected to your name. Robson Chiropractic, LLC. So it's got my last name. Now, a lot of times people get married and they change their last name, so then you got weirdness. All right, so sometimes that doesn't work in those cases. The reason we like the name is because on claims, it's good to have the name match the doctor's name, and so it's a fantastic identifier versus if it's just Blue Ridge Chiropractic, LLC. Get the idea? So there's the legal name, okay? Now, normally we are not going to have what you're going to call the place, the DBA, doing business as, or what you're going to call it, okay? Normally we do not have that be your personal name. And the reason why, because down the road when you want to sell your practice and you're calling it Peterson Chiropractic, well, then you leave and nobody whose last name is Smith wants to work at Peterson Chiropractic, okay? So we have a name that will stay with that practice basically forever. Someone else will come in, okay, they'll have their new legal name behind the scenes, they'll call it the same thing, the signs and everything stay the same, the logo stays the same, it has a perpetuity to it, okay? All right, so enough on that. Next point is this. Yes, the legal name and the DBA is done because that's a name that goes on the website, it goes on the business card, it goes on any decals on the front door, it's going on all social media, it's what goes on hats, it's what goes on shirts. This is the actual sort of brand. See, the brand isn't, let's say, Kit Kat. Kit Kat is owned by something else, okay, which I believe is also owned by some other big company, which may be ultimately owned by Pepsi, for all we know, okay? So the legal name, okay, on the tax return, and then what you're actually going to call the place. Okay, next, getting into it. How do you think of a name? Well, you Google chiropractic logos, images, and you just start looking around. You Google chiropractic banners, images, and you just start looking around. You're looking for fonts you like, colors you like, little graphics you like, layouts you like. You just look, okay, to start to get a feel. Now, you really do not want to copy people, okay, because that's lame and it's weak and it's pathetic and it shows that you can't think of anything yourself, okay? So you want to not copy people, all right? You might get an idea, but it's got to be a variation of it. You got to modify it somehow. You got to add something. Okay, you just don't copy people. I had a chiropractor in the Winter's Edge group driving through South Dakota or something saying, "Did you open up a new office in South Dakota?" I go, "No." And I look, and it's my exact logo, copied my website exactly. I mean, it was a carbon copy. It was just the most lame and weak and pathetic copy job of brain dead patheticness ever, okay? And of course, I got to call the lawyer and say, hey, you can't just copy someone else's everything, okay? Numbnuts, all right? See, that's laziness. Okay? No being lazy. Okay? All right, so now, here we are. So what's possible? Okay? Well, you do have your own name if it's really, really good and you plan on being there like for eternity. Okay? That is a possibility. Okay? Like we have a chiropractor, his last name is Lovett. Lovett Chiropractic. Look at that. Love it. It's the best name maybe in the history of the world. It's incredible, right? It's awesome. Okay? If you had a name that good, you might just use it. Okay? And who cares about if a new one buys, somebody else buys your practice? If your name is that good, we'll deal with that other stuff later. Okay? All right. So that's always still a possibility, even though it's not ideal in many cases. Then we have something about the geography. Okay? The name of the ocean you're next to, or a lake, or a pond, or a road, or a park, okay, or a mountain range, okay, or a trail, okay. There's something that's connected to the area, okay. Glacier Park, Montana. There's probably going to be Glacier View Chiropractic. You know what I mean? Mountain View Chiropractic, okay. Summit Chiropractic, like no question about it. Okay, Big Sky Chiropractic, because that's Big Sky's name of a mountain in Montana. Okay, so there's geography possibilities, okay, to really, really look and pursue. And what you do is you map, and you just look at the Google map, and you just start looking at the names of parks, or this, or the ranges, or the valley, or whatever. You just look at all these different names of different things around there that you might be able to connect with. Because if you can connect with a good local name, you are automatically accepted because people will accept the name. In Madison, Wisconsin, it's the Wisconsin Badgers. That's the college team mascot. Well, I promise you, there's Badger Plumbing, Badger Electric, okay, right? Badger Health and Wellness. Of course, right? Why not? And if people are a Badger fan and you go in, you get the idea? So there's geography. Then, like I just mentioned, there's mascots, okay, for local teams, okay? This is a possibility depending on what the name of the team is, all right? Okay, or a variation of it, okay? Okay? No surprise, in Dallas, there's probably Cowboy Chiropractic, okay? And that sounds good, Cowboy Chiropractic, like Coca-Cola. That would probably be a pretty good name. Wouldn't surprise me if that name is a legit name that somebody uses, okay? It's possible you even have animals, okay? Okay, depending on the area that you're in. Of course, with the map, there's the street name that you're on, Maple Lane, Cairo, something like that, okay? Sometimes if you're in a business complex, Shady View Business Center, Shady View Business Park, shadyviewcairo.com. Perfect. Done. Okay? Just like that. All right. What you want to do is you're looking at any names is you want to go in and look at the synonyms to see if there's another unique word that might pop out. Okay? In the world of mixed martial arts, the company that owns the UFC is called Zuffa. And I believe that's Italian for fighting. Really cool name, Zuffa. Someone was creative. Okay? All right? All right, so the synonyms. All right? Also, a unique name is using the area code. Okay? My area code in Montana was 406, 406cairo.com. A great name. And in certain areas, that might be a very valuable name to have as an identifier for where you are. Okay? Then you have all the typical one-word goofy names like Epic Chiropractic, Apex Chiropractic, all of these sort of one-word things that people want to attach, okay? And those can be considered, all right? But you have to be careful, and I'm going to get synonyms, and it has to make sense somehow. And it can't be anything that's common, all right? And again, you're going for the URL, and you want that URL to be as short as you can, as you can get it, okay? All right. Now, something with names I want you to be aware of is how they ring, right? Lululemon, Coca-Cola, Range Rover. Okay? Having a name that has a ring to it, it's easy to say and easy to remember. Okay? All right? And so as you're looking at these things and as you're playing around and as you're typing in URLs and you're just thinking and processing and writing down ideas, okay, there'll be something that reads easier, okay, that looks better, okay, and you can start to hone in on the one that you really like, okay? So you go and you've got to come up with at least 20 different names. Okay, people say, Tory, I have a name idea. No, you need 20. Okay? Keep going. Keep thinking. Keep Googling. Keep looking around. Okay? And really come up with something that's great. Okay? Lighthouse Chiropractic. Shore Life Chiropractic if you're by the ocean. Okay? There's just so many. That's why you got to Google map and look at all the different names of different things. Okay? Because it'll get the ideas that you can't just sit there and go, think of a name. You got to draw from something, and you draw from the geography of everything you're seeing in the area that's already named, that puts names in your mind that you can think and consider and Google and play around and URL, okay, what's the synonym, and really arrive at something that's good. Once that's done, you then lock in the URL with like GoDaddy, okay, and then you lock in your business name with the Secretary of State. You lock in the legal name, of course, with what's called your SS4, and that's the sheet that the IRS gives you that gives you the tax ID number for that business for the legal name. So it's legal name, then you might have to do the little DBA process. This is easy to figure out for the name that you're actually going to call the business, okay? So there's quite a bit to do here, but again, you're trying to think of a name that will work and stand the test of time, okay? A lot of times you can use the name of the community with just something different behind it, okay? Let's say the name of the town was, let's think of a kind of very simple name, Edina Health and Wellness. Okay, there's going to be a kind of an obvious one, okay? Edina Health in Cairo, all right? EdinaHealth.com, EdinaCairo.com. You know most of these names are taken because it's a popular area. There's 60 chiropractors there, so it wouldn't be surprising, all right? But you still consider all of these names anyway as relates to the town, geography, and every other thing you can think of, okay? So you have fun with this, take your time with this, come up with a ton of different names, lock in, get the URL as perfect as you can, reserve it, get the legal name, and then it's time for the colors, basically the branding. Maybe if you're going to have a little graphic with it, like a logo, what your business card is going to look like, now what the website's going to look like, and all of that. You notice in Winner's Edge land, it's all this gray and orange thing. That's what Winner's Edge is. My chiropractor site is gray and green, two separate identities, okay? So now you're going to create the identity, okay, and the colors. And by the way, normally for these colors, they're going to be blues, they're going to be greens, they could even be gray and yellow, it could be like that. Normally we stay away from red because red is the color of anger and pain and blood, all right? Whenever I see a chiropractic thing and they got red, it's like, who thought of that? Okay, normally we don't have reds in there. It's a sign of an emergency, it's you know what I mean? It's just, it's a highly risky color to use for anything that you want to be associated with health and tranquility and wellness and vitality and longevity. You get the idea? So colors are important also. Purple, that's like the color of Easter, you know. Green, it can be, you got to be real careful with the greens. Why? Because witches are green, the Grinch is green, okay? Green with envy. See, you got to be careful, but grass is green, okay, and trees are green. So you got to be very cool with the colors that you use, because colors mean things, words mean things, and when they put them all together, you want to make sure that you look good and it sounds good and it's a name that you really love. Okay, have fun with this, do a great job, and I look forward to seeing your name be something you can be proud of and a name that will cause your practice to grow. Great job.